What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and I host the only online program in the world for fathers and dads that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And through that collaboration, I've been able just this year, to get in contact directly or indirectly with 75,000 fathers around the world. And I am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative, which is a multimedia not-for-profit that showcases Blacks in the diaspora that are doing their thing in food, wine, and travel. And it's Wednesday night, August 4th, and for the last few weeks, if you haven't been around or you have been around, we're in a collaboration, the Dr. Vibe Show, Dream Legacy Foundation, and BIA Media. We are showcasing a great series called Black Entrepreneurs Win with Wednesdays. And what's it all about? We feature exclusive access to some of this country's most successful Black entrepreneurs, big and small. No shade, all shine. We invite Black-owned business owners to join us to share their recent wins as an entrepreneur and success stories, so you as listeners and viewers can listen, learn, and engage with our guests, our friends during the show. And at the end of each show, all the listeners will have an opportunity to get a special deal. Let's say a special deal this evening that's offered by our friend. But before I go any further, my co-hostess in crime, Yardley Kavanagh, come on down. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing great, Dr. Vibe. Always a pleasure to co-chair or co-host this great win that we're doing on Wednesdays.
It's a pleasure to share with you. How have things been since we last encountered each other?
Always great. Like I always say, one more day on this earth, you can do much more, and you have to be grateful.
All right.
Because you're alive, already.
I've got a question for you. Since our program's called Win with Wednesdays, give me a win you've had since last Wednesday.
I was able to see somebody I hadn't seen in a year and a half, spend an entire day with that friend who was moving away. And I was able to do that and travel to go see that person. And when I came back, I saw another friend I hadn't seen in 18 months also. And I was treated to a regal seafood dinner.
Oh my!
To celebrate the 40 years of our friendship.
How long?
40 years.
That's outstanding.
Yes. So I'm not going to, tell you the rest, but these are two amazing wins for me. These are two amazing wins for me because people who surround us, who support us, who are there with us through thick and thin, we need to treasure. So for me, I'm very grateful.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that win. I think for the rest of our series, we're going to get a win from you every week. So get ready, be prepared. Okay.
How about you? Tell me what was your win this week?
I had many, but one of the nice wins that I had was this past Sunday was officially Canada's first Emancipation Day.
Yes.
And the lady that was the lead, the lady's been driving it for so many years, Rosemary Sadler, who I've known for many years. I called her on that day. She answered the phone, and the first two things I said is thank you.
That's beautiful.
And I wanted to say thank you for what you have done, what you are doing, and what you will be doing, not only for Black Canadians, but Blacks around the world and people around the world. And that was a major win for me to be able to say, because I've been blessed to know Rosemary for at least 15 years.
Wow.
And this passion she's had to drive it. And it was, we had a very emotional conversation. She shared some of the journey and some of the highs and some of the lows. And then the day that the Canadian government unanimously voted that, because she's going, we've had this happen before. And I was waiting for someone to say no, but she said, yeah, and they were good. And they did it. So that was a huge win to have a conversation with a history maker.
Exactly. And this is for her.
Yeah.
Rosemary.
Yeah. Wonderful.
For all of us.
So let's start tonight. We got another person who's making history. So tonight we have someone, if you've watched some of our previous conversations, you've seen her at the at the end of the conversations, but tonight she's the star of the conversation. No after show for her tonight. She's front and center. Natasha B Russell is the founder and CEO of NBR Strategic Solutions. Her business offers coaching, speaking, and consulting services to support purpose-driven entrepreneurs, corporations, and not-for-profit organizations with achieving their business goals through effective branding, communications, and public relations strategies. She has more than 17 years of corporate communications experience working in a variety of sectors. Additionally, she is internationally certified health and life coach, certified motivational speaker, and communications and public relations expert. She has a passion for mentoring youth and is on a mission to make positive impact globally. And as we're doing in this series, we're featuring people or entrepreneurs in different sectors. So we've done, I think last week we were in Montreal. The week before we were out east, North Preston. Now we're going way across the country to Calgary.
Exactly.
So
we were in Winnipeg also. We were in Winnipeg.
Yeah, we did Winnipeg, yes. So we're getting across the map here, folks. So this is a cross-country expose.
Yes, I love that. Oh, I love your French. The pronunciation is amazing.
Yes, I just thought about that on the fly. So we're doing a Black Canadian entrepreneur expose.
Exactly. And we're very blessed to have Natasha part of our team. But like you said, today she's front and center.
So without any ado, let's bring her up to be front stage and center. Natasha, come on down. The digital price is right.
Hello. How you all doing?
Doing great. How are you?
And you?
Great. Thanks for the warm introduction. I'm super excited to be here with you all today. I guess I'm on the hot seat, which will be exciting.
You can handle it. You're good. You got it down. So I'm going to let my esteemed co-host start with our conversation. So Yardley, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Vibe. Natasha, welcome again. And I'm going to start off by asking you, as myself, an expert in communication, I want to know, what was your journey, to become the coach or the expert that you are now?
Great question. Being the journey around communications has definitely been a journey. Interesting story. Growing up, I was a very shy and timid little girl. I didn't talk a lot. And I actually had a very rare, I talked about a very rare illness of the mouth. So I wasn't able to speak clearly. I had issues with speaking, and that really hurt my confidence. And I went through trials of medication. And once I was healed at about the age of 9, I remember, my parents were not religious, but they were spiritual. And my grandmother took me to church one Sunday. I was 11. I'll never forget it. And I remember the pastor saying, "You were fearfully and wonderfully made." And for me, at 11, I had a mindset shift. I no longer looked at myself as flawed, and I started to build my confidence. And so by 18, when a lot of my friends were going to work in retail or fast food, which is totally fine, I was like, I'm going to go work with lawyers because I want to see if I should. By then I was more chattier. I'm like, I want to see if I should be a lawyer. And I was told, no, you can't. You need to get a certification as a paralegal first. But what did I have? I had confidence. So my journey around communication began as early as 18. I remember my first job in corporate, working with bailiffs, a bailiff agency, managing all of their clients across the country, giving them updates on where their vehicle may be or if a client hadn't paid their rent. And so I was always communicating. And then I went into bigger law firms, started to handle closing deals on behalf of the lawyers, meeting with clients, realized I love people, again, communicating a lot, drafting documents, writing, building my, my written and verbal skills. And then I realized that was great, did that for several years. What's next? Didn't want to be a lawyer. Love the law, of course, but I love people and I love communicating with people. So I ventured into university as what they consider a mature student, and began my journey at MRU, Mount Royal University. And interestingly enough, I was thinking of doing broadcasting or journalism or PR. I applied for all three. Thank God I got accepted into all three. Again, that confidence factor, not arrogance. And I decided to take the PR route because I knew I'd have a lot of opportunities. So I studied for 4 years there at university. And then I began working in the energy industry for large firms, again, in corporate communications, and did that for several years. And then I realized this is great, but I want to do more. I want to do more for society. At that time, in 2017, there was a huge recession. Suicide rates were high. And I said, if I could use my voice, if I could speak life and help save a life, what would that feel like? And so then I began my journey into studying as a motivational speaker and then transitioning into getting my certification as health and life coaching. And along the way, of course, other certifications in communication. So it has been a journey. And I do believe we should be lifelong learners when we find something that we're passionate about. So that's been my journey. I'm still on it. And my goal whenever I speak, if I can uplift another person, I'm doing a job well done.
Excellent. Dr. Vide, I'm going to shift the mic to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that great introduction of your journey. I would like to know if you remember the moment that you said, I'm going to become an entrepreneur.
Yes, it was terrifying, Dr. Vibe. I had my letter of resignation under my desk for weeks on weeks on weeks because, it was comfortable. I was in a nice, cozy corporate job, nice six-figure salary, the benefits, the stocks, everything that we're told to earn or to work for. But something still wasn't, for me, wasn't that fulfilling. And like I said, when I found it, I knew I had to make the transition. And so day in, day out, I wrote my letter. I had it under my desk and I was like, okay, today's the day. But you know what? Fear kept creeping in until one day I said, you know what? I'm going to allow faith to override my fear and start that journey as an entrepreneur. I knew that I wanted to do something different in a different energy, giving a different energy, helping people versus maybe helping people save energy. And so it was a big leap. I remember the day I gave my letter of resignation, people said, oh my God, Natasha, who stole you? Where are you going? And I was like, no, I'm going to go start my own business. And they're like, are you going to do consulting, just PR and communications? I'm like, no, I actually want to start teaching and coaching. And that journey began. And honestly, for the first month, I still was in that, I think, what did I just do? Like, am I crazy? I'm a single full-time mom at the time. What did I do? I have a mortgage to pay, mortgages, I have bills, but I had faith and I began my journey. And honestly, God has just continued to open doors. And, I'm grateful. Lives are being transformed, businesses are being transformed. And every day I wake up and say, whose life can I impact today? And that's what I'm all about.
If I can just add an additional question, Yardley, and just building on what our guests and our friend Natasha said, when was the moment that you realized that you were on to a good thing becoming an entrepreneur?
I think it was my first time speaking like as an entrepreneur. I had my first event. I've done a lot. I would say I've had a lot of learning lessons along the way, a lot of hard lessons, a lot of money spent, money wasted, doing things probably the way I shouldn't have. But that's been, like I said, a really great lesson. But for me, it was my first event. I held a Strategize for Your Success. I was super nervous. I was going to be the only speaker. And I pulled it off. I rented the hall. I had the food. I had the gift bags. I created my first presentation. And it was a free event. I'm a giver, and people came out, and just when I heard the feedback of what people took away, I was like, okay, I'm onto something. And then that course, 3 years later, is still happening, and I now have guest speakers coming in to speak with me. So it's been a great journey.
Excellent.
You are a woman of passion. We've all noticed that, and I wanted to find out, when did the passion for mentoring youth emerge inside of you?
Hmm. The funny thing is, while I was working in legal, I was always mentoring summer students or legal assistants, shall I say, come in for the summer. So I was always a part of the mentorship program. But for me, I think it really became a huge part of my life when I had a daughter. I thought, looking at my little girl, she's the future. And other, kids that are growing, they are our future. And if we can invest our time and helping them to see their greatness, especially, kids of color who we do face barriers, I want to be able to let them know that whatever they think of, whatever they want to be, they can be, but they got to put the work in. So I would say for me, it's been several years, but really prominent the last 9 years since I've had my little girl.
Excellent. Can I ask her this question, Dr. Vibe? You have a motto, and I want to make sure I read it right. Lead with purpose, confidence, and clarity. That's your motto.
Yeah.
How do we attain that as a life coach that you are?
How do you attain purpose? The thing is that I believe we all were born with a purpose. Sometimes for me, it takes time to figure out what that is. And I do also think that purpose has seasons. So you find your purpose by what gives you energy. It doesn't drain you. It gives you energy. It motivates you. It's your reason for existence, your reason for being. And I believe all of us have that. And when you find your purpose, you'll know it'll feel right. And that's going to ignite your big underneath, what I call your why beneath your why. So for me, it was like, yes, working in corporate was great, but connecting with people, being able to, I remember when I started my journey in corporate, I would always share little quotes on the group chat. I'm always the person that has positive messages around me. And just hearing people say, oh, that really helped me today. I was having a down day. I read that quote and that resonated. I was like, maybe that is a part of who I am. And so everybody has one. And when you find, I say you find your life. So purpose then brings you to the fact of, right, you're leading with purpose. Your confidence comes because you know who you are. You know why you're born. You don't have to you're not looking for anybody to validate you. You're validating yourself because God has already validated you. And then you're leading with clarity, because clarity, it saves you time, it saves you money, it saves you resources. If you know where you're going and you don't allow any distractions to come your way, you're going to get there much quicker and enjoy that journey. And life is a journey. So may we be on that path to what fulfills our happiness. And, being a coach, I've worked with so many successful entrepreneurs who are transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship, who have become a lawyer, who become a psychologist because their parents wanted that for them, or began working, in energy because that's what their parents wanted. But that's not what they wanted. They wanted to maybe be an artist, go into dance, be an actress. So you got to find what works for you. And at the end of the day, we all get this one life. So let's make it count. Let's do what we love.
Exactly. Thank you.
I just want to ask, and going back to your days in the corporate world, what lessons did you learn in the corporate world that have helped you become a successful entrepreneur?
Rejection. I would say rejection, right? It's, it's knowing that you're going to have certain barriers. I laugh because sometimes people, I remember I'd walk into a room and they'd say, like, I like to wear suits. I'll never remember or forget one day I was working in an energy company. I like to wear suits because I used to work in legal. It's just my thing. And my boss said to me, hey, like, why are you dressing like you're the CEO of the company? And I'll never forget that day. And did I have challenges? Of course, working in corporate, of course. We all do, but don't allow people to change you. I was not the type who wanted to maybe wear a t-shirt and jeans on Friday. Maybe I want to wear a blazer and jeans. So some of the lessons I've learned, Dr. Vibe, is that don't allow anybody to crush your goals or crush your dreams. Be who you are unapologetically and authentically. Show love and respect. Sometimes people won't treat you the best or the kindest or the warmest. Still show them love. Still show them gratitude. Because one thing I've realized, hurting people hurt people. And so I've had a lot of rejection along the way. I'm going to still have more rejection. But I always say like my dad would say, every disappointment is an appointment. And I say every rejection is a redirection. And I've had it. I have days where I'm like, or moments, I should say now, where I'm like, oh, that hurt.
You're human.
Yeah.
You're kidding. You're human. Okay.
Where I cry and I'm like, God, why? Why? And I stop saying, God, why me? I say, why not me? Because I'm strong enough, because I'm resilient enough. And that is what's really continued to build me over and over again, is that factor, that knowing everything is working for our good. But do we want to use it for our good, or do we want to use it for a reason to stay in bed and say, well, I can't go again? So I keep going. And if it doesn't work, I try a different route, Miss Yardley and Dr. Bob. We just got to keep moving along. And when
there's always a solution.
It sticks. Yeah.
On that note, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with our guest, Natasha B Russell, life coach, entrepreneur extraordinaire.
I shifted over to real estate, and then the rest is history. For me, as a 21-year-old, I'm like, okay, where could I get into the market? When we started Yorkdale, I was 29 years old, and it was a big moment in my life. We were changing the mindset of who could be on the jersey. Then we did the partnership with Ryerson to launch the digital media lab. And then the tech sector is growing. Investors are trying to see what is the best place to invest in, what is the best product to invest in. These are all indicators that will continue to drive the need for housing.
And we're back, folks, with Natasha B Russell. This is Yardley Kavanagh with the Dr. Vibe, the man of the hour also. Natasha, we've been having this great conversation about your passion, your journey, and of course, the motto that you have, which I will repeat if people just joined us. It's lead with purpose, confidence, and clarity. You have told us as an entrepreneur that, it's not always easy, but you're in Calgary as a Black entrepreneur. How difficult or easy has it been for you to emerge and for people to realize that, you're the one to trust?
That's a great question. The one to trust. I think you build trust by showing vulnerability. And for me, being, Calgary is home for me. Like my parents are from Jamaica. That's my second home. So I've traveled there often, well, pre-COVID. But has it been challenging? Yes. But I do believe there's been a lot of great opportunities. I've met a lot of great people. A lot of times when I have my events, you'd be amazed by who's in the room. It's a lot of different backgrounds, and it's not people that think it's, to be honest, it's not maybe people that look like me. And so I am reaching a wider audience. And for me, that makes me know that I am on the right track. And I'm not expecting my family or my friends to be my biggest supporters, but I'm in the mission of business or entrepreneurship to change lives or change businesses. So if I'm able to resonate with races outside of my own, then for me, that shows me that I'm doing something that is not just putting me in a box. And I don't ever want to be in a box. I want to be able to spread that message. And so that's how I know, because I see who's in the room, who's listening, my clients, very diverse clientele. And that shows me that I am knocking doors. I'm knocking a lot of doors. And like I said, when the doors close, and I've had many doors close or many doors not open, that I keep going and then doors do open. So it's really trusting the process. And it's been sometimes hit or miss. But one thing I know for sure that I probably was very uncertain of earlier in my younger days was I born to speak? Now I know without a doubt I was born to speak. And for that, I'm grateful. I can't hear you, Dr. Vibe.
We cannot hear you.
You can't hear me there. You can hear me now. So since you have started the journey in mentoring and coaching entrepreneurs, are the challenges that they came with in the beginning the same today?
Yes, I find a lot of it is all mindset. Everything is mind cash flow, but mindset. Can I actually do this? Will people buy from me? Or, everything really boils down to what I'm seeing. It is a mindset factor. What can I really have what I want? And that stems from having the actual clarity. Who am I serving? A lot of times I know for myself when I started, I wanted to help everybody. I had to really target and create a niche. And I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes we want to try and help everyone or service a certain portion of or larger portion of the industry. You really got to define, who am I serving? Why am I serving them? What do I have to offer that's, different from my competition? And I consider that your USP, your unique selling proposition, so that I can stand out from the crowd. Right now, I think anything that, apart from health concerns with COVID, and that's been, really hard working through just not being able to interact with people the way we used to, is everything is digital. This is where we're going. And so when you think about marketing, you're up against a lot of marketing ads daily. And so you have to figure out as an entrepreneur, how will your message resonate in all of the noise that's out there? And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. Their marketing strategy. Next to mindset, it's marketing.
Just want to add on, you had mentioned the pandemic. How has the pandemic impacted your business?
Yeah, that's been tough. I started in my office. I'm like, why do I even have an office? Because no one's coming. So it's literally putting everything virtual. And for me, I think it's been more of an internal challenge. I miss people. I miss being in that room, feeling that energy. So I do a lot of speaking like this on Zoom or, StreamYard. It's just not the same. I just spoke last week at the ATB Entrepreneur Center. Again, it was virtual. So it's not the same interaction, but of course, it's happening. Life is still going. So I think it was just that pivoting. How do I still do what I do and still bring my, the NBR factor, I call it, to a place where I'm now virtual, where they can actually physically connect with me.
What would you tell, thank you, Dr. Vibe, what would you tell your younger self, especially that you had a speech impediment, you had all that, if you could go back and see who's Natasha now? What would you tell her so that she doesn't give up? Because it's going to help other children, other people that are watching.
I would tell myself, honestly, it's like what you just said, Yardley. It's never give up. It's never give up, never give in. Keep going. Take a break if you must, but keep going. We all need times to, I say, rest and reorganize, restructure, or go again. And just hold on to the vision. You know, the strategies are going to change to get there, but hold on to what you see. It may be for you, not for anybody else. You know, I had a dad who was really, you want to be daddy's girl, but he almost made me into a perfectionist, and it wasn't a good thing. And I learned this now. I'm like, I always wanted, I wanted to get 100% because when I used to go to school, for example, I'd come home with 97%. He'd be like, that's great, but where's the other 3%? My sister would come home with a 70%, and that was okay. So there's this higher expectation that was placed on me. I don't know why, because he's like, oh, I know you have a lot of potential. But I started to really bring that in everything at work, studying. Everything had to be this A plus. And I remember one of my professors, Eleanor McNichol, if you're out there, she said, Natasha, it's not about perfection. It's about giving your best. When you give your best, that's all that really matters. And so when I didn't come home with the A pluses or the I was okay with that. In university, I was okay with that. In corporate, I was okay with that. It was okay to do a media interview and be like, oh my God, I wonder if I messed up. I wonder if I had the right key messages. I am human. And that's what I'm still learning, I think, is being able to be more vulnerable. And I'm still working, I'm a work in progress. I think it's just that mindset of, Natasha, you have to have everything all together. Well, people, I'm not perfect, but we are imperfectly perfect. And that's the journey. So
Very true.
yeah.
Are you a firstborn, Natasha? Maybe that's why they put all that on your shoulders.
No, my dad was busy. So I'm from a mixed family, a blended family. I'm the only child between my dad and my mom. So
Mm.
my mom and my dad are together. My mom is now remarried for over 20 years with 2 daughters. So those are my half sisters, but they're still my sisters. I shouldn't say half, but they're my siblings. My dad has 6 kids, people, 6 different baby mothers. I don't know. Can you believe it? Now he's been in ministry for the past 15 years. He's changed his life. He used to be into dance hall, music, gambling, alcohol. And I remember one thing about him, he'd always leave the money on the table to buy my books. I used to love to read. But I didn't really, he's always working. He was a welder as well. So now I look, I'm like, okay, well, thanks. The thing I've learned is that it's good to be vulnerable. It's good to not be perfect. You can't be perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. And so that's something I tell my daughters, just give your best. That's all that matters. Just do your best.
Question for you. Since you're a human being and you're an entrepreneur, can you share with us a moment in your entrepreneur story that was a challenging one and how you overcame it?
Yeah, when I first started, when I left my corporate job, I was, I'm a woman of integrity. So I wasn't working on my business while I was at work. And I'd work, come home, I have my daughter. I started working the nights on my website. I started out trying to market to everyone. I spent thousands of dollars trying to market to everyone. And I knew the rule. If you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to no one. So right out the gate, I wasted a lot of money on marketing, marketing to everyone, but marketing to no one. Secondly, when I launched my website, which is great, I had a build up. I had over 3,000 people come to my website, and I had no opt-in, no way to obtain their information. So that was a huge learning. What else can I say? When I was trying to get my first client, I got to a point like, God, what am I doing? Like, am I on the right track? I remember on my knees, literally crying, like, I'll just go back to corporate if that's what you want. That mindset thing. Can I do this actually? And I remember the phone started to ring. It was my first corporate client. And I was like, okay, thank you, God. So it's been a journey. Of course, we live and we learn as we go along, and we work. We find out what works well. We stick with that, and we find out what's not working well, and we deviate. So I'm continuing. That's the process. But I know where I want to go, and this is just the beginning. Really, it's just the beginning. I look at it as my business is still a baby. It's still a little baby. It's a little toddler maybe now.
And as
Yardley?
an entrepreneur, now that you've created your niche, um, would you say that that was the best thing? You should have started maybe earlier. You should have left corporate long time ago.
Sometimes I struggle with that. I'm like, oh, I should have started a long time ago. I would have been further, down that road. I would have accomplished a lot more. But I do believe that everything happens for a reason. With
Mm.
me, I believe I had to have learned those journeys, of rejection and just going again to build me for this path of full-time entrepreneurship. It's a big deal when you're like, literally, I have no salary coming in. Like I'm generating this income. So in that in itself, I'm so grateful that I'm doing it. I'm living it and I'm doing it. I'm not just saying I'm walking the walk, I'm talking the talk.
What are you excited about in the going forward?
Honestly, it's my show. It's the NBR show. I just every time, like I said to you, I could barely speak. My voice is gone. But when I get on the ability to connect with people and give them a platform to share their story, as I'm having the opportunity to do with you, I'm so grateful. And I want to be able to do more of that. And that really is all I really want to do is give other people, other entrepreneurs, a platform, and people who are on a mission to do good, to share their story. I think if anything we've learned now, especially when we're talking about marketing, it's storytelling. It's connecting with people. And when I connect with people, I learn from them. That for me, that transfer of energy, it gives me joy. And that's really where I'm starting to put more of my focus on is on that, the NBR show.
Right.
This is
Yardley?
excellent. Well, we go with the community principles.
Benefits, yeah.
Benefits. So I know that you have the list, Dr. Vibe. So
Sure, no
I'll let you
problem.
go.
So, Natasha, we always get each one of our friends to come on to talk about community benefits. I just want to give some background about community benefits as a framework to maximize dollars already being spent with very little investment. It helps foster a more equitable approach to economic development where the whole community may prosper. Some types of community benefits include jobs, training, apprenticeships for targeted groups, and opportunities for local businesses and social enterprises. But additional benefits can range from affordable housing to energy reduction projects and public space improvements. So based on that definition, when we say community benefits to you, what does that mean?
Well, for me, it's investing in my community, right? And in the Black community, of course, and communities at large. And so for me, a big part of what I do is I give it back a lot of my time. I do a lot of sponsorships. I do a lot of donating of my time in sense of I work a lot with the Black Women in Action group. They also work with other Black entrepreneurs. And I work with them in donating my time to train them on branding, communication, marketing, PR, tactics to build their business. So that's a way I do that. I also work with the Calgary Black Chamber. I volunteer my time there to build up their youth, our youth. I'm giving my time around mentorship business. This is my area of expertise there at entrepreneurship. And I'm also their strategic advisor. I also support a lot of Black business owners in my community. And I really look for when I do my show, I always want to at least have, a ratio of, whatever race to a Black entrepreneur on my show. So at least I like to have that platform available for other entrepreneurs of mine, to come on and share their story and build their business as well as advertising through my platform. And yeah, that's what it means to me is giving what I can based on my skill sets and of course monetary to help my community.
You said that you were, sorry.
Go ahead, Yardley.
You said that you were a mother, like I am.
Yeah.
How do you balance being an entrepreneur who has her own business and does her own show, family life and business life? Like, how do you balance all that?
That's a good question. And that has been a challenge in the beginning, but it's my calendar. So I look at, okay, how many events potentially could I have in the week? Everything's usually during school time. Now it's summer. So I'm like, okay, it's 1 week in the evening, a Wednesday, but I really try to tailor my time to make sure in the evenings when she's at school, I'm available. So everything's booked while she's away. And she's like, okay, mommy, I'm on summer break. So that means you can't work. I'm like, no, mommy still has to work. But it's balancing that she has her time with me, which is usually the evenings. Of course, during the day, now it's summer, she goes to summer camp, time with her family. But I'm really strict on my calendar and blocking it off so that nobody can eat at my time, that it's her time. And then I also make sure, because in the beginning, I was really guilty. I felt that mom guilt being on my phone all the time. So it's literally putting the phone away, literally like hiding my phone so I can't look at it after like 6 p.m. I don't look at my phone until she goes to bed at 9.
Nice.
Natasha has a special offer for us, and I'm sure Dr. Vibe will ask you the question.
So, Natasha, each one of our friends that come on, we ask them if they're comfortable offering providing an offer for any potential clients that are watching you live on our platform. So if you could share with us the offer that you've come up with for people who are interested in taking advantage of it.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity to do that, Dr. Vibe. So for any of you who are out there who are looking to start your business or you've started your business, but you have no idea what you're doing where it comes to marketing, branding, sales, I am offering a group coaching course. It starts on September 8th. and you can save up to, well, you save $800 if you register before the end of the month. The original price for the course is $1,500. You get 7 one-on-one sessions with me in a group format. I'll be teaching you how to build your brand, how to build a communications marketing strategy. You have the opportunity to develop your sales pitch and share it back with the team for feedback, and also to present your marketing communication strategy at the end of the course. So if you're looking at starting a successful business, your dream business, or maybe you started and it's not working, you're feeling a little lost, I'd like to invite you to join me. $600, $600. That's less than $100 a session, or, to come in and learn and make your business a success. So that's my special offer for anybody who's watching.
I wanna jump up the value of that. So $600, how many hours are you going to be spending with the person? Like, you have the one-on-one coaching, plus you have the group coaching. So each individual, how much time are they going to be spending with you?
Yeah, well,
approximately.
It's group coaching. So the value of the program is actually like at $5K, but in all together, you're going to get probably an hour out of the 7 sessions with me. So 50 minutes per session.
So that is fantastic. Yardley, do you have any final
Well,
questions?
I wanna thank Natasha, because your journey is going to be inspiring for a lot of people, especially along a lot of young Black women who are following us and following you. And I thank you for your time. I thank you for your generosity. This is an amazing offer, and I want nothing but the best for you, Natasha, in the continuing years. And I'm sure that we'll have you again, of course, in the after show with us, and sharing your wonderful, wonderful quotes and also your inspiration.
Thank you so much, Yardley. Yes, we will be seeing and staying connected, and I look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Yes, me too.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. And Natasha, do you have any final words you would have for our audience before we let you go?
Yeah. Be confident in who you are. Be fearless enough to pursue what sets your soul on fire. Be bold enough to own your greatness. But more importantly, be you, because there's nobody else in this world like you. Take care. Stay safe.
Take care, Natasha. Thank you so much. Great conversation. Lady has energy to burn and then some.
Mm-hmm.
And no wonder she's in Alberta, the home of oil and gas in Canada. She's got the energy to burn. But
Exactly.
great conversation.
Oh, she's an amazing woman. I mean, she could have continued and continued and continued on. I mean, she has so much to say, and of course it's so fluid, and it makes sense for people who don't get it, who don't get, when you get a purpose and how to be clear and confident and all that. Natasha's got it. So hopefully people who are watching, you're going to take advantage of this wonderful offer.
Fantastic. Well, as always, during our after show, we bring Eldon Holder Jr. to the stage. And Eldon Holder, there we go.
Hey, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing?
We're great. How are you?
Doing fine.
What an incredible conversation with, was our backstage host a couple weeks ago, and now she's got the spotlight, and you wonder, why was she backstage? She should have been at the front from the beginning. I thought it was excellent to hear just the story behind the entrepreneur. I think far too often we see the brand, we see the business, but we don't actually get a chance to meet the person who's actually working behind a lot of this work in their organizations. And I felt that, she's been through a lot. And a lot of Black business owners across Canada have similar stories and unique stories. But what really stood out for me in that conversation was her mindset around rejection. I mean, how often have you been told no? Dr. Vibe, Yardley, you both are in broadcast and entertainment and media. How often had you pitch an idea and, someone told you, no, that's not going to work. No, you're never going to get that. No, you're not the one. How often have you had that? Like, honestly, sitting in the seat that you're in, do you get no's a lot?
Yeah,
Often.
I love it.
And that's the thing, right? The mindset that she shared was turning those rejections into redirections.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the most crucial. If you can figure out how to turn your nose into fuel, like what you were saying there, Dr. Vibe, burning that energy, that's how you can unlock your full potential. So I wanted to share, as we do at the end of the show, just a great vote of thanks to Natasha, but also tie some of the messages to our Baobab principles. Because at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this show is to talk about how communities are growing, how businesses are thriving here in Canada, and circulating our dollars. So how does this tie into the Baobab principles? Well, you've been tuned in, you've seen us chat about them a couple times now, and now we're diving a little bit deeper into the actual Baobab principles. And now we're on the letter O. So B is to be honest, A is to be Afrocentric, and O is to overcome obstacles. Now, what does that mean when we have this as our guiding principles? It means that we want it to stay true to our essence as people of African descent, that overcoming obstacles is what makes us who we are. We are resilient by nature. And what I loved about what Dr. Vibe said, and I got to give a shout out to Rosemary Sadlier, because yes, it was Emancipation Day this weekend. It was the first time that it was recognized here in Canada. And Rosemary clearly has overcome a series of obstacles to kind of get this thing recognized. And over the weekend, I tuned into the Royal Ontario Museum had a feature on Emancipation Day. And one of the actual features was a project called the Jackson 5 Project. And the whole purpose of the project was to talk about the greatest celebration on earth, which took place in Windsor. And the overarching purpose of this story was, through people of African descent, we have overcome obstacles from Jump Street. Some people will look back 400 years and they'll talk about slavery, and that's an overcoming obstacle. But just in general, to thrive in business here in Canada, you have to have a mindset that is rooted in resilience. So I leave that message with folks, because when I heard what Natasha was saying, she talked about her pre-existing, condition. She talked about having high expectations from her family, from her business. And I think if we all approach life with that mentality, we'll be able to overcome obstacles for generations to come. So I'm really grateful to be able to watch this from the background. We have another awesome show coming up next week on Wednesday. We're going to be jumping to Ontario next week. So you guys will get a chance to see some people who you might know coming on the show. But the whole concept of the Baobab principles is to support Black businesses, amplify, and go and get that coaching, guys. Like, that is one of the most important things that we don't do. We don't ask for mentorship. We don't reach out to coaches to help us build our skills. And Dr. Vibe, you're also a life coach too, aren't you? Don't you do some coaching as well?
Yeah, I'm a certified coach, and I also do mentorship coaching once a week with about 10 students all around the world. So not only do I do coaching, but I do mentorship coaching. And one of the key things that I will say is one of the things that's holding not only entrepreneurs back, many of them, but people back, is we don't ask for help.
Very true.
It's so true, because it's uncomfortable. Sometimes we feel like we have all the answers, but you got to overcome that obstacle too. Thinking that you know everything actually puts a barrier in front of your greatest possible potential.
Well, as one of my mentors told me, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in trouble.
Very true.
Well, that's why I hang around with you folks, because you have so much wisdom, both Yadli and Dr. Vibe. So, folks, tune in, stay with us.
Eldon,
follow us.
do I have your permission to give a closing word?
Always. I mean, this is the after show, so we at least got a couple minutes to jive a little bit. So definitely give us a closing word. So
I've gotten in this habit that whenever I have a chance to share a meaningful word, I take advantage. So short little thing here, and it's titled, "If You Can Do This, Every Moment Will Be Wonderful." So we go here starting with this. If you want tomorrow to be the most beautiful day of your life, then spend some time today thinking about the end. Think about life as if it was over, as if someone had a gun to your head, because time has a gun to your head. When you wake tomorrow, feel grateful. You've been given a reprieve. Live like you're on borrowed time, because you are. Every day is a bonus. Now go treat it as such.
And always remember, there's always a solution, always an answer. If a door closes, there's a window that opens, always.
I love it. I love it. The wisdom is so real here, and I hope that folks are taking notes. I hope that folks are tuning in to the right message. But thank you all for sharing that anecdote, Dr. Vibe. You got to do that at the end of every show. You got to give us like a little piece of
Sure,
walking wisdom. You know, my
sure.
grandmother used to say, "Walk good."
No,
You know, walk good.
yeah.
Well,
Hey,
I think
like I
that's
say,
that's got to be part of our closing.
yeah,
here.
we want to leave people with some light.
Always.
Much needed.
Leave some light. And as I always say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim higher, aim wider, aim stronger. And remember to give yourselves grace. I want to thank BIA Media, Dream Legacy Foundation, Yardley, BIA Media, Natasha, and everyone who watches live on the replay. We will be back live next Wednesday. God bless, peace you well, keep the faith, and walk good.